Hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about Toilet Bound and specifically Hanako and the mystery behind him. Toilet Bound Hanako Kun, it's a really spectacular manga series and an anime, and it follows a girl bound to a ghost. The series is known for its really unique art style and engaging mysteries. The biggest mystery, in my opinion, being like Hanako, not just as a school wonder, but why he died and killed his brother. And that's what I'll be trying to talk about. Spoiler warning though, if you haven't read Toilet Bound, I recommend doing that before you watch. Now, for Hanako's past, the most logical way to connect the dots is that Tsukasa would abuse Amane. Amane had enough and killed him, then himself out of guilt. And while it's pretty much confirmed that Amane killed his brother because he was a fake, I think there's more to it than that. I feel like Amane's parents had something to do with it, and I don't think Tsukasa was the reason Amane had all those injuries in the flashbacks. It's obvious that Amane was abused in some way. In the manga, he says, even if no one else would ever forgive it, even if there's no reason to justify it, I forgive it. And in the anime, he says, I don't care if it's not justified. Even if there's no reason at all, I don't mind it, please believe me. Now, it's pretty obvious that whatever happened to Hanako was pretty traumatic. Even if he doesn't remember it all, it still haunts him even over 50 years later. Although, if his mind and body could actually develop over the years, maybe it would be easier for him to get over it. But since he can't grow up mentally, I think the trauma sticks with him longer. But anyway, that being said, I do think Amane might have led a somewhat normal life until he was about 12 or 13, right before he died. Let's talk about the Red House, the place Amane grew up in. Now, when Amane was about 3 or 4, he was very sick and was fated for death. In this house, there was a place where Tsukasa, Amane's brother, could ask for wishes, obviously for a price. At first, Tsukasa just got a lot of things for Amane, and the price wasn't that big since he was just asking for objects. Eventually, Tsukasa concluded that the best thing he could wish for is for his brother to just get better, and that's what he did. But since the wish was to directly save a human life, the price was going to reflect that. So after Amane got better, Tsukasa gave his payment, and on their birthday, he disappeared. He didn't necessarily die, I don't think, but he couldn't go anywhere. He was stuck in a mysterious place in their house for more than 50 years, staying a 4-year-old. About 6 months later, Tsukasa reappeared, but as a fake. It was the possessed Tsukasa. He may have looked the same, but Amane's mother knew that was not her son. Obviously, no one in the family knew what really happened, but I do theorize that the entire family, even Amane, could sense something was wrong. But I think they all just went along with it. I think while growing up, Amane was scared of Tsukasa, not because of anything specific, but because he was intimidated by his behavior. Still, as far as Amane knew, that was still his brother, and he probably still loved his brother. I don't think the Yugi family actually knew what happened, so other than Amane getting sick and Tsukasa going missing for a year, they lived as a normal family. In the manga, Yashiro questions if Hanako's entire life was just filled with sorrow, but I don't think that's the truth. Mainly because I'm a hopeless romantic and don't want to believe that my favorite character's life was just all horrible. But anyway, I believe everything in Amane's life changed when he was 12 or 13 because somehow, in some way, his parents eventually found out what happened to Tsukasa, the real Tsukasa. I theorized that they wished for Tsukasa back, but the price was Amane or something, I don't know. So they realized they couldn't go through with it and therefore could never get their real son back. And this is where Amane's life changed. I assumed that after his parents found out, they blamed Amane for it, saying that it wouldn't have happened if he had been born healthy. And I think he has all those cuts and bruises in the flashbacks because his parents started abusing him for that reason. As a way for them to grieve. I don't think Tsukasa was the one hurting Amane like most people think. I think it was his parents. In one of the chapters of the manga, Hanako calls his brother an imposter. I feel like if his parents were the reason he knew about it, that would explain how he knows about Tsukasa not being his real brother. But in the conversation he had with Mr. Tsuchikamori, in the anime, he says even if there's no reason at all, and in the manga, he says even if there's no reason to justify it. This could infer that he didn't know the reason, but I think this is kind of saying that he does know the reason, but even if there wasn't a reason, he would forgive it. And if it was his parents, it would make sense why he would forgive them because they gave him life, and he knew them his entire life. But either way, I feel like Amane didn't really know how to defend himself, so he would forgive it no matter who it was. Anyway, yeah, I theorized that Amane was abused by his parents after they found out the truth about Tsukasa, but I haven't talked about my theory regarding why he killed or died yet, so I'll get into that. In the manga, it says that it was rumored that everyone in the house committed suicide. I don't really remember if they said why, but I think that Amane was the only one who actually killed himself that day. I think everyone in the house died from the domino effect. I actually have two theories for what happened. Either Amane killed Tsukasa and then killed himself, and then when his parents saw it, they killed themselves as well. But for me at least, that doesn't really make sense because it doesn't explain why Amane killed Tsukasa. It could have been because the abuse got to him, and since Tsukasa wasn't his real brother, he thought killing him was the best option, but I don't really think Amane would do that. It's basically confirmed that Amane killed himself. Tsukasa even says, "You were the one who gave up on everything and took the easy way out after all." And then it shows Amane holding a knife to his chest. So we pretty much know that for sure. But if Amane felt that much guilt, then how come he killed his brother out of nowhere? I feel like there was more to it than just the surge of aggression going on inside Amane's head because of everything that was going on. I feel like something suddenly happened that brought out that surge of aggression. Either way, if Hanako committed suicide out of guilt from killing his brother, he probably wasn't thinking when he did it. I think what happened is that Tsukasa realized what was going on and the abuse that Amane was going through, so he asked Amane if he wanted him to do something about it, and Amane said yes. As we already know, Tsukasa grants wishes with a lot of aggression most of the time, like when he full-on broke Mitsuba's neck. It was probably the same kind of thing. He took Amane's wish for his parents to stop hurting him a little too far. Tsukasa probably thought something like, if they're gone, Amane's wish will be granted. So I theorized that one day, while Hanako was cutting up vegetables or something, Tsukasa killed his parents right there in front of him. And that's where I think the surge of aggression came from. I think from Tsukasa doing something like that, all that Amane had endured from that point all got to him at that moment, and it happened because of what he saw his brother doing. So without thinking, he launched at his brother with the knife he was holding and stabbed him in the chest. Then after Amane had realized what he had done, he killed himself. I think that he killed himself almost immediately after killing Tsukasa, but some people think he killed himself sometime after, but since it's implied that the Yugi family all died on the same day, I'm leaning more towards the suicide being immediate. Anyway, that's my theory for what happened. Well, at least for the most part. I think that big clock actually has something to do with Amane's past, since he worked on it nonstop when he was alive to fix it, but I don't really know where that would fit in, so there's probably something bigger that I'm overlooking. But that's my theory. I have a feeling that the truth about Hanako is coming really soon, so I'll be looking forward to the next few chapters of Toilet Bound. Tell me what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching!